Hello, welcome to Graphic Design Elements and Principles. My name is Joel. I'll be your instructor for this 8-week session, accelerated session. We're going to jam in 16 sessions in the 8 weeks. But guess what? I've done it every semester, so everybody can do it. I believe in all of you, and I have it set up so you basically, the only reason you'd fail is if you just don't do the work. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I have loved this course. Developed this course over many years. It's really exciting. The 1 second background about me is I was in the industry for 30 years as art director for most of that time, and then got a master's and then decided to teach, or I got asked if I wanted to start teaching, and I've been teaching here at MATC for 11 years. And that's my background. I hope I can brag and say I know what I'm doing and I know how I can help you, and I can answer most of your questions if it comes to graphic design. So no worries there. I'm gonna break up the boring part also because I don't really like my lectures going much over an hour because I know everybody drifts off. You know, even if it's really exciting stuff, after a while you're like, he's been going on and on and on. So I try to keep them up about an hour. So I'm gonna like breeze through some of this other stuff so I can just jump in and start teaching graphic design and not teach you about what happens at MATC, because that you can explore on your own. I don't have to do that for you. So this is the layout that we're gonna use. I'm gonna start from the bottom and go up, and then we're going to jump into the studio sessions, which is studio session 1 and 2 are open, though we're only going to deal with 1. But let's get started. MATC has a ton of resources out there to help you with whatever problems you have. Anything. Click around, find out, Google it, use your MATC stuff. There's just whatever it may be. There's a ton of services by MATC that can help you out, like even financial problems. Like you can get a grant if you have, like, you know, we've had students' apartments start on fire and they can get a quick grant to take care of that. We've had, you know, all sorts of stuff. Take advantage of what you can that the college is offering you. All right. Syllabus. I'm not going to read the syllabus. Please read the syllabus. It is a standard syllabus about the course. And if you have complaints about me and how I teach, they'll ask you if you read the syllabus first and is everything in the syllabus correct or not correct. It is just a standard legal document. It's the same for every course except for the parts that are about this course. One big thing is that I do note, and I've sent information out to everybody, is there's a textbook. It's not required, but you do, if you plan on working from home, and I'll talk about this more today, you do need the Adobe Student Creative Cloud subscription. You do have to pay for that. If you come in and work, it is free here at MATC. You just come to the classroom, you work, and you don't have to get it. I'll talk. Well, on that note, so our class is from 2 until 4, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm here on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the room that we teach in from 9 a.m. until 4. So you can come in anytime between 9 and 4 on Tuesdays and Thursdays and do your work on these awesome systems that have drawing screens, tablets, dual screen, so you won't be leaning over, crunched up, working on a laptop at home. Come in, work, you know, large, see what you're doing, have multiple things up that you don't have to keep moving around. It's well worth it. This is the overview of the projects and grading. Let me enlarge that for everybody. You're going to have 2 sections of research to do. You're going to do elements research and principle research. You're going to do a project section, which is elements projects and principle projects. Do you see where this is going, why it's called design elements and principles? There's going to be 8 design practices. Those are to get you familiar with using Illustrator and InDesign, you'll be using both of those programs throughout this course. And then two design-based projects. You're going to be doing a poster and a little, I want to call it a single fold brochure. Don't worry, you guys will knock it out of the park by the end of this course. It always happens. And then there's some book chapter summaries. And one thing that's not in here is I added new, I didn't update this, is there's a little quiz, but it's not even a quiz, because you know what? You can use whatever means possible to answer the questions. It's just to get you rolling and thinking about or knowing graphic design terms. I include textbook samples. Here's the grading situation for the most part. I think I took out some of the 0.5s to add in the quiz. But as you can see, it's very well broken up. And then this is what we do each week. You're going to do the same thing almost every week. So, or every session. Sorry, I'm going to say week instead of session a lot. And it's a lot of like rinse and repeat. But each session is going to be a different topic. So you're going to do a research for that topic, a project for that topic, then you're going to practice something, then you're going to have a book and then the little quiz, but you'll roll through it. It may be a little confusing in the beginning, but it doesn't take long for everybody to understand what's going on. All right, the rubric. How do I grade? All the assignments are very specific into what you need to do. It takes out a lot of the ambiguity of, oh, it's a creative project. I list out, do this, do this, do this, do this. As long as you do those things, you're in a good spot. If you do them sort of half-minded, it won't be as good. But if you knock them out, you're going to pass. Like if you do what I ask, you're going to pass. So like it says here, craft 3 sketches using only 2 sans serif letters. All right. Has a student generated 3 sketches? Sure. Did the student employ a sans serif font? Sure. You know, like, has the student adhered to the use of only 2 letters? So it's very specific. Now, this is always, there's going to be discussions. One of the good ways to learn about graphic design is to see what everybody else does. So instead of doing every class we do a review, you are going to go in and review 2 people's work and write about it. Very simple. It's usually it's a 25-word comment about the person's work. Like, oh my God, I can't believe what you did for number 3 on this. You know, like super cool. Stuff like that. But I want you to start looking at what other people are doing. That helps you become a better designer as well, because it encourages you and you get to see like, oh, okay, this is what they're doing. This is how they're doing it. Late assignments, because graphic design is based on timeliness. Their late assignments get a 12% grade reduction. So the second it's late, it will be, instead of like an A, you'll get a B. Instead of a B, you'll get a C. So same with the discussions. If you choose not to do the discussions, you're knocking yourself down by a grade also. And then I will not accept assignments after 7 days after the due date. So everything closes out. You can't even turn anything in. It's just done. So again, why is that? Because if in the real world, you had a client and you had an agreed due date with the client and you missed that due date, you would be fired. You would lose your job. You would lose other people's jobs possibly because they're relying on you getting your work done. Because say you're promoting an event and that poster has to go to print and you get it to the printer late. Well, then the printer gets it out late. That event wasn't promoted well enough. And then people lost their jobs because whatever was happening didn't happen the way it was supposed to because you turned it in late. So it is a very, very time-dependent career. You get used to it, but you're going to get used to it now. So just kind of know, get it done. Every session we meet, Session 1 is Thursday. Everything's due midnight the next Thursday. When we meet on Tuesday, everything will be due at midnight the next week, Tuesday. So you have until the end of the semester, you'll have 1 full week to do the work, and it's staggered. Thursday, Tuesday, except for around Thanksgiving. Then there's some days off, but you'll roll with it. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink this part. I am, a little bit strict on it, but you'll be able to get the work done. Everybody does, unless they just don't want to. The biggest one here is how to reach me. I have discussion boards open just to ask me questions. You can email me. I have virtual office hours, which you just email me and be like, hey, can we meet? When are you free? And I'll meet with you. Like every time I'm free to help anybody out. It's very easy. There's GChat, which is connected to your Gmail at MATC. You can hit me up on that. I have one student who loves to use that. And you can call or text me. This phone number right there. But I don't always answer. I'm like everybody else. If it's an unknown caller, let me know who you are. I'll get back to you. Easy peasy. Thousands of ways to contact me. You should never feel like I don't know what to do because I can't contact the instructor. I'm always here. I'm always around. I'm always there to answer your questions. So there we go. I think that's enough on that. How long did I spend on that? 10 minutes? Good enough. All right. This other one, the other scary one is the 8-week time expectations is kind of expect to spend about 18 hours a week on this course. It would usually be 9 hours a week, but we're doubling up. Will you need to? I don't think so. If you just kind of do the homework and get it done, you'll be like, oh, that was easy. I did it. I got it done. And then you start to use your time more wisely on other projects within this course. It'll be just fine. So don't breathe heavy, but it's 2 days. Like you're supposed to kind of like my lecture, and then you're supposed to spend about a day. If you're taking a normal 3-credit 16-week, it's about 8 hours that they expect you to spend teaching. That's why when you take courses, they usually say 4 to 5 max, because 5 would be a 40-hour a week, like constant studying. So I show you that grading rubric. I put it here again. Always questions, comments, or concerns right there. Let's jump into the line lecture. Got that done. Let's start learning about graphic design. Got this line lecture. I'm going to download it to make it bigger. And we'll get rolling here. Download. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to reverse this. I'm going to change it up. We'll do this in a minute. I'm going to walk through this if you haven't seen it. Every week there's a line lecture, or not a line, there's a lecture. And then I'm going to post the video. What I'm doing right now is being recorded. It's live and it's being recorded. And then I post a YouTube link so you can watch it again, because I know you love, you're going to love watching this more than once a week. And then I do it to YouTube so you don't have to use Blackboard to rewatch stuff. There's always a Studio Session 1 project review. There's always a project review. Post your work. I'll look at it and be like, hey, why don't you move this? Why don't you fix that? And I'm very quick, but I'll get you the feedback so you can get an A. One and done. We'll have a graphic design line research project, a line project. We have design practice, a textbook, and the quick challenge session, which is the quiz. So let's start with the quiz. Start at 10. I have to act like I'm a student. The questions will come up. Oh, I don't have them. There's 5 questions. What is a bleed in a print design? If you don't know it, you can just grab it, copy, paste it, hit return. Printing bleed is extra area of a design, typically an eighth, and then you just go back, extra image area extending past, boom. And then you got it. Like, what does CMYK stand for? You can just Google it. You can take as much time or as little time as possible on this, and just, there's 5 questions each session. It's just, again, to get you familiar with some of the words you're going to start hearing more and more and more. Easy peasy. This should take you 5 minutes, 10 max, 10 if you're like a lot of like copying and pasting. So do not expect to spend more than 10 minutes taking this quick challenge session. All right. Easy, easy, easy. The textbook. Now go into it and then hit view instructions. I have it here for you. What I expect out of this assignment is to look through it, peruse the information. I'm not looking for you to memorize it. There's no quiz on it. I want you to just check it out. Look at it, be amazed at some of the stuff, like read about it. Like, how rad is that? You know, this is a piece of paper that's been cut like straight here and then, you know, brought in front, like super cool stuff, and be like, I love that thing. Like, look at this, like, again, cut paper, just really cool ideas done by students. They're master students, master degree students, but just peruse it, look through it, and then write about something that you found interesting or that jumped out to you. 100 words. 100 words is like 4 sentences. It's not much, but here's the kicker. I want you to tell me something you found interesting in it. We check. I know when there's a ChatGPT answer, and I'll fail it and be like, I want to know what you thought, not what ChatGPT thought. So don't be like, ChatGPT, give me 100-word summary of, because I'll read it and be like, this is a summary of the book. I know the book. I don't care. I just want to know, like, what did you find interesting? I don't want you to, like, again, memorize the book, but just look at it. Like, just 10, 15 minutes, go through it. Just be amazed by something and be like, you know what I thought was super cool was this image in there. Like, I never realized like that was something we could do. So keep that in mind. That's how I want that to be done. Sit wherever you want. All right, so that's the textbook. Let's do design practice. The design practice is built around you learning both Illustrator and InDesign. Illustrator and InDesign are the 2 #1 programs that you need to know as a graphic designer. And there's no reason why you can't start learning them now. And I do it in a way that makes it really nice and simple. The first one is just downloading a folder, opening it, and completing it. So here's the overview. Can everybody see that? Should I make it bigger? All right. All you need to do is recreate the provided template as accurately as possible. So we're going to be using Illustrator for the first project. You're going to download and unzip the provided file. And I'll go through this. I'm going to do this like live. You're going to open up the folder, which will open up an Illustrator file with links. Links are images that are part of the design, but we link them because if you embed them, it's called, it takes up too much design space, too much memory, and so we link them. It's a standard practice. You'll get used to it. No worries. So we're going to open the file. When prompted to replace the links, navigate to the links folder. You may be asked to update fonts. You should not. I took out the fonts part. We had some discrepancies with the school and their versions of how to get you guys fonts. Then you're going to review the layers panel of the document. You'll see numerous layers, but they'll all be clearly labeled with their contents. You can lock, unlock, show, and hide layers. I'll show that. And then you're just going to move all the parts onto the template. There's no need to change layers, resize anything. Focus on accuracy of moving the objects. And then note, you will not be using the margin and the copy this exactly layers. So let's scroll down. You're going to click on David Carson. And you can just I should be able to, I have to do this. Download here. I get this little area and you should be able to download it. All right. I'm going to open that up so you can see it. So with a Mac, all you have to do is double click. On a PC, you can right click and extract all. So I'm going to double click. It opens it up. And I have inside that folder, I have davidcarson.ai. That is an Illustrator file. And in the links is all the images. So I'm simply going to double click on David Carson AI. And this is what comes up. Your Illustrator may look different than mine, the way it's set up, but you can just use the standard, first time ever using it under, you can go to Workspace and Essentials, and that will give you a really good working idea of what to do. Now, the only tool that you need to worry about is up here, and it's called the Select tool. This guy right there, the black arrow. And as you can see, each one of these is layered. There's eyeballs on the left, and then there's a little lock on the right. You can, by locking it, it means I can't touch it until I unlock it. And if I want to see it or not see it, I can just turn off the eyes. So see how that happens? As I turn on the eyeballs, I can see the stuff on each layer. And then I can lock them or I can hide them. We just call it hiding them, but it's either you see it or you don't. So that's why it's an eyeball. Now I'm going to zoom in. This blurry object is what you need to recreate. But everything you need to do it is here. And the way I would do it is just like this. Start with the typography. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to click and just drag. I'm not going to change the shape. I'm not going to twist. I'm not going to turn. I'm just going to drag it. And I'm going to get it right on top. And then I'm going to zoom in. Zoom in, sorry, I guess there's going to be two tools I want you to use. The zoom tool here to zoom in and then get it aligned perfectly. Now there's some discrepancy because I put in a really fuzzy image, and then you can zoom out. So you can zoom in, zoom out. If I click and drag one way or click and drag the other way, that's how you use the zoom tool. And I'm just going to go and very easily, now I'm going to click. And now you can even do this. Now that the title's done, I'm going to lock it. There's no way I can grab that title now. It's locked. Once it's in place, I locked it. I'm going to put the body copy in. I'm going to zoom in. Now here's another little trick. If it's close and you don't feel like messing around, you can use the arrow key to get it even more perfect. The arrow key moves it a prescribed amount, but it's small and it's good. So you can just use the arrow key. Easy. And then I'm going to lock that. That way I can't go and ruin it. Let me tell you, that comes in handy. That you don't want to have to ruin, like you mess it up. You're like, oh, that was wrong place. Now I'll take the picture of David, the photo, and I'm just going to line it up. and I want it perfectly lined up. Now here's the other thing. I'm going to zoom in, because you don't not zoom in. Use the power of the screen. And I'm going to get it perfect, like lined up with that edge. That magenta line is called a margin. And that indicates an area on the piece where we don't want any information going past. All right. Now I'm going to zoom out again, and I'm going to grab the 3 images. We got the Pepsi, we got that one, and we got this one. Now this is where some of the magic comes in. All right. Every time you see that hand, I'm using the space bar as a grab and move. So whenever you see that hand, you should try it when you're working, is you grab and you move. So if you zoom into the wrong area, you can just grab and move. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this Pepsi up with that edge. I'm going to line up, is that Lane Staley, I think, from Alice in Chains? Yeah, on this edge. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to grab, like drag and grab across all 3 images. All right. Now in my properties panel, down here is some of the greatest tools ever. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to have them all line up on their bottom edge. The computer lined up all 3 images perfectly on their bottom edge. And I didn't have to think about it at all. I just clicked right there. Then for this one, I clicked on those 3 dots, and I'm going to go to distribute spacing, and I'm going to click this one. This is up and down. This is left and right, vertical, horizontal, and I'm just going to click it. And what that did is it mathematically made the space in between all of the images exactly the same. Then I'm just going to use my arrow key. It's where I want everything. I'm going to use my arrow key and pop those up. And then I can lock those. Oh, I'm going to lock his head too. Now I'm going to zoom back out. I have these 2 white boxes. This one white box goes right there. This other white box goes right here. And last but not least, this image just goes and fills the background. Everything is there for you, and all you're doing is moving parts and pieces to where they should be as accurately as you can. Again, the main tools, you're going to be using direct, or not the select tool. You're going to be using the magnify tool. I'm going to go with the select tool, and you're going to be using properties. Let me click on something, and you're going to be aligning and distributing. Again, this should take you, my explanation is probably longer than it should take you to do this, even if you've never used Illustrator before. It's just getting used to it. It's moving. And here's the other one. If you mess it up, you can just close it. If you mess it up to a point where you're like, I don't know what's going on, just close it, don't save it, and start again and open it up fresh. Don't get caught up in the idea that once you start on a graphic design piece, that it's the end piece. We are allowed to, and I do it all the time. I hate where this is going. I messed it up so bad. I'm just going to start over. And I do it. You just start, don't save. You've only wasted some time. And nobody's going to look back at this and be like, yes, so-and-so in their college days did this beautiful David Carson piece where they, like they talk about it. No, this is just practice. If you got to start over, just start over. We're not Michelangelo's. I wish I was, but I'm not either. So that's how you do that. Now, to upload this for the assignment, I need a PDF. Now you're working in Illustrator. How do you get the PDF? I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to save onto my computer. I guess I could save like into this area. But what you want to make sure is the format is an Adobe PDF. Now I have a couple things that I say to do. And one of them is make sure that View PDF after saving is clicked on. And I believe you can do small as file size. Let me click over. I gotta double check. Let me double check what it says. Yep, smallest file size, view PDF after saving, and then use document bleed settings is unchecked. So where do you find that? So smallest file size, view PDF after saving, and then under marks and bleeds, nothing should be marked. And then I'm gonna hit save PDF. And there you go. That is what you created, and you're gonna upload this PDF to the discussion board. Not the discussion board, this is an assignment. So you're gonna upload that to the assignment section. So that is how to complete that project. Nice and easy. Don't worry about it. Shouldn't take much time. You're just moving. You're just moving this from here to there, from here to there. All right. Now let's get into the line lecture. Because the next two, the research and the project, both are based around the line lecture. So that's why I wanted to take care of those other ones first. We will be running over an hour, even though I said I don't like to. It's the first class. All right. Here we are. All right, line and design. Let's talk about it. All right. Oh, I always do like starting with something else. All right, so line. Line is a design element. The way to think about the elements is elements are pieces, are parts. It's almost definable in what it is. And to get to a line, technical issues. Work area. Please hold. No. Who changed this? There we go. All right. Well, to start off, in the world, we have that. I can zoom in. That's a point. Now, a point is a place in space. And in the beginning, we're going to talk about a place in space, but not it in relation to the world. That's just a point. Now, if I have another point right there, I have 2 points in space. Who knows where they are? But for us as designers, we talk about it in a way of it's a line. And we generally work in 2 dimension. Well, we only work in 2 dimension because that's how our work is created. It's in 2 dimension, though we may give the illusion of 3-dimensionality. Everything we do is only 1 dimension. Now, I have 2 points. When I connect 2 points with something, that is now a line. So simply put, a line is connecting 1 point to another point. Now I'll get in this a little bit more. but I could have a point here and a point here. And if I wanted to, I could connect them like that. I could have a point here, however I want. A line doesn't close in. It is open on both ends. And how you get from point A to point B is up to the creator of the line. Whatever you want to do. And you'll be doing this today, don't worry. And you'll be creating a motion from line. But that's generally what line is. We're taking a point, and we're connecting them. Now I could do a point to a point to a point, and this is still a line. As soon as I do this, it becomes a shape. We'll talk more about that on Tuesday. All we're worried about right now is connecting one point to another point and how that can be used in graphic design. Now you may be thinking, how can that be used? Well, let's dig around. Let's talk about that. Zoom in. Get my hand going. Okay. As I just was talking about, a line is a continuous mark made with a moving point. So that moving point is what I talked about, connecting one dot to another. It has length and direction, but minimal width. That meaning if your line was real thick, and I'm just gonna do this, it's like, say I drew a short fat line like this and it was all filled in. One might mistake that for a rectangle rather than a very short fat line. So that's what that means, minimal width. Now, the characteristics can vary. The length, the width, the curvature, the direction. It can be straight, it can be curved, diagonal, horizontal, vertical, anything you want. It's a line. Now, this just kind of almost repeats. But there is a role of how certain lines affect how people think and feel and see. So you could have a straight line that straight lines, or let's just talk about like straight lines. They're stable. They're very orderly. They're efficient. You know, the horizontal lines suggest calmness, while vertical lines imply strength and height. This is all like this psychological thing that you're going to start as graphic designers, start to build on and be able to create super rad things and control what people think, all by how you made a line. Curved lines suggest movement, grace, natural. Diagonal lines, they're dynamic, they have energy. Zigzag lines, excitement, chaos. And then, you know, back to the horizontal, vertical is stability, order, and balance. Lines are fundamental for creating structure in the form of objects. They define the boundaries of shapes. So this is something I don't 100% agree with, but like when I talked earlier, when we have this idea of those are like three lines. Now it's a shape, but the lines are defining the shape. Now, the reason I say I don't fully agree with this is I teach that you don't need to show the line. We're very used to, as we start as designers, in which I will knock this out of you right away, is when we do something like that, we don't need to do this. That rectangle is no more a rectangle now than it is without the lines. It's still a rectangle there. Here, all I did was put a border on it. And to me, a lot of times, I think the border detracts from it. I know I'm using a light color on a light background, but in essence, you know, in creating a shape, it's not always needed. Hierarchy and emphasis. Lines can guide the viewer's eye. And we're going to see this in this first awesome example of how it's used to guide the eye. And actually, a lot of the examples. And pattern and texture. You can express mood. This is what you're going to do for your project. So characteristics of lines can evoke specific emotions. Sharp, jagged lines might convey tension, while gentle flowing lines, calmness. And lines can be used symbolically, representing concepts of stability, movement, or growth. That's why they're used in charts. You know, we have all those charts. How do we connect one to another? How do we make it? How does it look? How does it seem? Lines are used in logos and typography. They're used everywhere. It's the starting point for a reason. You know what I mean? It's like we can say the point, and you'll learn about that a little bit from the book reading, but the line is what's used to create something. But think of what it was, what are they called? Connect the dots. You know, where those are the points, and then you create the line, and that line then creates the image. And then achieving a balance between different types of lines is essential for creating a harmonious and visually appealing composition. This goes into the bigger picture about graphic design, and where you maybe don't want to do a lot of different kind of ideas, because it'll make the design, the overall design, too much. I've got curved lines, I got jagged lines, I got this line, like then it becomes too much. But if your composition is all based on one style, then it becomes a harmonious composition in itself. Let's look at these awesome examples. I like really classic examples. I think for me, it's more fun. This one, Nestle's milk chocolate. Get my color back to cyan. All right. It's all about line. They're like, I notice stuff all the time, new stuff. We got a line here. We got lines that are coming down. And what the lines are doing, they are coming down. They hit the table, and then they start coming at us. They're directionally showing us where and how to look on the page. It's amazing what we can do in the simplicity of these lines and directing the eye. I want people to start up here, and when they start up here, they're going to start looking down. And of course, we're going to come by, you know, the classic, quote unquote, classic housewife from whatever year this was from, and even her shirt is lines. They contrasted her by color and line thickness. Here our lines are all fairly evenly spaced. Here she's got a shirt on that has thick, thin, thick, thin, thick, thin. But they haven't lost that ideal line. This whole advertisement is about line. And it's about having you start at the top, see the subject matter, and then once you leave the subject matter, it has this table that is calling you in by the dimensionality of it. And then there's some copy down here that you can't see. So it's line used as the primary graphic design element in this piece. James Stewart, Kim Novak, Vertigo. I can never move these over unless I move it like that. Get it centered for you all. Again, all of this, it's basically, you can almost say this entire piece is done with lines, except for the dude right here. So the reason I say that, like almost all, is because these letters could be considered lines. It's a thick line, but if, say, one was doing it with a marker, easily done, probably with a single stroke. I may be pushing it when I say that, but I stand by my convictions with that. The other part, the vertical part, all lines, in all these lines are converging. And what actually happens is the lines end up creating the shapes. This eyeball in the middle is created that if you kept curving these lines and kept making more and more, they get to a point where the fidelity is so close together that what you get is a solid shape and a solid shape around it. And then to create contrast, the building off of this is the man is a solid shape and the woman is a outline. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. All just from lines, you know, pretty amazing. Let's go to California. This one is great because the lines are shadows. And they're from a palm tree? Sure. But we don't see the palm tree, do we? It's a great representation. It takes this up a notch. If you were to remove those lines, it would just be a smiling lady on a background for Southern California and United Airlines. There wouldn't be that sense of warmth, the sense of like, ooh, the sun. I feel the sun on her face, you know, like I feel it on her face because there's a shadow there. If there wasn't the palm tree marks, we wouldn't have that awesomeness. You know, all these lines create that sense and give us more emotion toward the entire piece than if it was going to be without. So just a simple, I'm going to create these lines that look like she's standing under the shade of a palm tree, which adds to the sense of warmth. You know, it gives us a directional light, and it's basically lines. It is just lines on an image that can convey all of that. This Beethoven piece, these lines are the music. It is the overture, I forget. I meant to look it up before this class again. I always forget what it's for. But these lines, these circular lines, and the way they meet up represent a section of the music. So the graphic designer knew the notes, had the notes in front of them, and we're like, oh, okay, for the D is the longest. The D's played the longest, and then this is played like this, and then this note's played this long, and then this one is this, and then so this is a representation of part of the music that this poster is advertising. It's a little secret that, you know, kind of like only the designer knew at the time. And then the designer explained, and and then this became an actually very famous poster because of that, because of this hidden idea in there, and it's done with lines. Finally, is this cool ribbon shape. It's like a line created with lines. And your eye just flows through it. You get to see all this beauty as it goes around. And it's continuous, but not continuous. It goes on the page, off the page. It wraps. You see like front side, back side, or this back side, front side. I don't know which is which, but we can feel that going around. And again, it's all this like movement and this intertwiningness of the lines is so expressive. And again, it's, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines drawn in a way repeatedly to give us a sense of dimension and movement. It's pretty amazing what you can do with lines. All right. Let's get into the other two projects we got for you. Research. All right. For this one, I want you to use your favorite presentation program. It can be PowerPoint. It can be Google Slides. I will do an example in Google Slides because I'll show you the accuracy that I want. Whatever you're most comfortable. And then later on, once we learn the programs better, we'll actually be using the design program. So I would like you to create a presentation that shows a book cover, a movie poster, and an album cover. 3 examples total. 1 book cover, 1 movie poster, and 1 album cover that show line. So design a presentation template with a 16:9 ratio. That's 16 wide by 9 tall. We always work width then height. A standard piece of paper, 8.5 by 11. Width by height. I want you to clearly label each section for line, line, book cover, movie poster, album cover. So it should have a title. It should show, you should label which is the book cover, which is the movie poster, which is the album cover. Choose a layout that visually enhances the content. I'll get into that in a minute. Create a visually appealing presentation as if you were a professional graphic designer. And here is a super important one, is do not squish, squash, or distort your images. And I have some beginning examples here, and then I will show you what I mean. So, line research. It's 16:9. I have 3 images. I have an album cover, I have a book cover, and I have a poster. Oh, look at that poster. Don't reuse my images. All right? If you see it in the lecture, I don't want to see it in your examples. That's cheating. I'm just like not even thinking. What I want you to notice and what I'm looking for when we do this is perfect spacing, perfect alignment on everything. Each 3 of these images, though different sizes, are perfectly aligned with each other, right? But through the center. They have the exact same spacing between them as well. And then the words are perfectly centered under each one. Here's the other example. If you wanted to go crazy and just do 1 image per page. Album cover, book cover, and poster. Now, free with your MATC account, which isn't the Adobe Creative Suite, is Google Slides. So when you're signed in to your MATC account, I'm signed into my MATC account, under the 9 dots, you can either go under Drive or scroll down further, I think, and go to Slides. You can pick any template you want that maybe fits what you want to design to. And you can use that template to make a cool 1 to 3 or 4 paged presentation online. I'm gonna take something I didn't do. Book report. I'm not gonna do blank either. All right, so this is book report. And I don't need to keep all this stuff. So like for the first page, I'm just gonna come in and put line and my name, right? Now I'm going to look for a page that maybe has some pictures on it. It doesn't have to, but this one, page 8, seems to be the best. I'm just going to move this up. And then I'm going to delete all these other ones. Delete. I'm just literally hitting the delete button. And then I can click on this text, and I'm going to delete this text as well. Now I have a blank page. Now I need to find my 3 items. For the speeding of this, I'm going to speed this up, and I'm going to only do 1 image, just because I want to go over the next project with you, and I don't want to go 30 minutes over the hour. And then don't worry, we'll review this every class, and they'll get it quicker each time, and you'll understand what I'm meaning. But there's templates over here, just to tell you more. There's templates over here as well if you wanted to switch out your template. But please just don't use Blanco. You're creative people. You've joined this institution to be a graphic designer. Pick something cool. You can even Google slide templates and find a bunch of free ones. If you spell it right. Free Google slide templates. Hey, look at this. You got Disney and Halloween ones. I don't care if you use that. This would be a great one for line. Look at how it's drawn. Like, if it's all got like little line drawings in it, that's awesome. So feel free. Use something else that you find somewhere else. Now, just for my own sake, I just typed in 1970s book covers. And I was amazed at the first set that came up. This has, I think, a ton of line in it. But look at this. And then if you look here, there's a line one in there. So I'm just going to kind of click on that. And this is a pretty decent size. So what do I mean by that? And I'm sorry for the people. There's a little gray box right there, and it says 470 by 490. That's pretty good. That's pixels. If I click on it, ooh, look at these beauts. I actually want this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it. And I'm going to do save image as. And I'm going to save it to somewhere I know it needs to go. So I have a 103. I'm going to create a new folder. We'll call it line. I'm going to hit create. Because then I know where all my things end up. And I hit save. All right. So I have my image. And I'm going to do the same for album covers. I'm not going to. Maybe I will. And then here, I'm going to click images. And under tools, I'm going to go to size and I'm going to go to large. And I'm just going to scroll. That's kind of got lines. Oh, look at all the lines in this. Look at all those lines. So I'm just going to right click on it, save image as, and look, I'm going to save it to my area. Save. And then I already have that. Okay. And then a poster. Movie poster. Dun, dun. Look at that. Look at all those lines in the background. Perfect. Save image as. Boom. Save. Now I'm going to go to my report here, and I'm going to place my images. Tools, background layout theme. Insert. And I want to insert images, upload from my computer. I'm going to go to my desktop, to 103, to line, and I should be able to grab all 3 of these and click open. And they all import it. Now, before you start doing anything, I do not want them squished, squashed, or changed. So you have to pay attention to this part. I'm going to make sure I grab each one, and I'm only going to grab from the corner. And when I do so, I'm going to hold down Shift. Now, what that's going to do is constrain it. Constraining means it is only going to allow me to size it proportionately. I'm not going to grab from this edge. I'm not going to do that. D. I'm not going to do this. D. I'm only going to grab from the corner and hold down Shift. And that way it constrains it. It keeps it the perfect size. I got this one. I'm going to make it smaller. Not tiny, just smaller. And sometimes you have to be pretty accurate. I'll tell you guys this now. I have this giant cursor set up so you all can see it better, and it makes it hard sometimes. Now I come to the book cover, and you may notice there's all this white space around the book cover that I don't need. First, we're going to crop the image. I'm not going to keep that white stuff. I don't need it. So as a professional designer, I'm going to go up to this tool right here, crop image. And I'm just going to click on it. Oh, I want to be on this image. And I'm going to click on it. Now those lines turn black. And now I can pull in from each side. Oops. Again, like I said, sometimes there you go. And I'm going to crop out all of the pure white if I can get it to the right spot. Let's try the corner. There we go. There you go. So what is going to now happen is this image is going to be the internal size. So I'm just going to click on it. I double clicked on it. And now we have the 3 images. So I can take them and get them on the page. Now I want you to notice something that's happening. I have to make them smaller because I want the words. So I'm going to take this middle one and I'm hold down Shift and make it as tall as the book cover or the movie poster. And I'll move that in. Now, if I move these, I can move these up, but I want you to watch something when I do this work. I'm going to see that red line that shows up. That tells me that that image is perfectly centered on the piece. Now, if I move this, same thing will happen. Red line, that means that is perfectly centered. And I want this to be perfectly centered. Now I can look in from each edge. And if I wanted to, I can pull a little line and be like, I want my image to be like 2 dashes in. So I'm going to move this over. And then I want that image to be 2 dashes in as well. All right. And then I'm going to move that over. Now all my images are perfectly aligned, center-wise, but then to get the distance in the middle, all I have to do is slowly move this one over. And see how those blue lines showed up at the bottom of the poster? That shows me that those are perfectly aligned. Now I can grab all 3 of those. I'm going to click on one, hold down Shift, click the other one, and move them up. But I'm going to leave approximately the same border. I don't want anything touching the edge. All right. I want the same distance around everything. No image should be touching the edge. You should have what's called a margin. And then we'll put in some text. I'm going to create a text box that is the size of the width of the poster. And I'm going to call this movie poster. Now, before I'm done, I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to go to the centered one. This is aligning text. So this is left align, this is center align, and this is right align. See how it comes up? And then I can even, within the box, I can be like, I want it right in the middle. All that magic happens right there if you do center, center. Now I can draw another box. Or even better, I'm just going to take this. And I should be able to copy and paste it. Copy, paste. And then I'm going to move it. I'm going to make it as wide as the other one. And this is book cover. Oop. Book cover. And then the final one. Copy, paste. Oops. Get it perfectly aligned. I'm looking for those red lines to show up. And then I want to make sure I don't go past. Get it lined up with that edge. Get it lined up with the other edge. And again, there's markers everywhere that show up that will help you get this super accurate. And then this is album cover. I have my title page. I have my 3 images. Nothing's touching the edges. Nothing's been squashed, squished, or mushed. There's perfect spacing. They're perfectly aligned with each other in the center line. I'm good. So I can go to File, put the proper name in. Then I go to File. And then for this one, Download. And I want a PDF. This one doesn't do that other one that, it doesn't do that automatic. But then double check your work. Open up that PDF. Look at page 1. Look at page 2. Just as nice as that. And again, it won't take you that long. 3 rad examples, 1 of each type. All right. Final one, the line project. I'm going to update this and highlight this. I have created an Illustrator document for you. In that Illustrator document are 6 boxes. I want you to use line to describe these emotions, 6 of them. It could be happy, sad, tired, furious, fragile, dangerous, bored, angry, nervous, scary, mad, soft. No points, no shapes, no colors, no images. Oh, what do you mean by that? No images. All right, what you're going to do is download this file. Then you're going to open it. And here you have the start. I do not want you to necessarily do what I did. These are visual examples in order to help you understand. It actually says here, examples turn off. So you turn those off, all right? Once you want to get going, turn those off. Now you can do this one of many ways. Here is the text box area. To change the name in the text box, you take the select tool and you click on the text box. Then you use the type tool, which is the T, like every other program, and you just highlight the text and you put happy. Now, the easiest way to do this is with the brush tool or the blob brush tool. This is the blob brush tool, and usually I think hidden within there is a brush tool. That allows you to just draw. Beautifully draw something. Right there, that's a happy line to me, right? That's happy. It took me a second. and just draw a happy line. I feel like Bob Ross. You know, was this, my second one was angry. Angry might be like really jagged. And you can use the pen tool. If you're curious about the pen tool is click. But now I'm left with this thing that's sticking to me. All you have to do is click on this again, click right there. But now these are shapes. So if I go down to this little guy here, I want, this one is a fill box, and this guy is a stroke box. Or even better to read is over here in your properties panel. So I'm going to put fill with nothing, and I want the stroke to be black. That's my angry line. And I'm going to do the free flow on one for happy, like whoop, right off. That's me happy. That's me angry. And choose other ones. That's what you are to do for this assignment, is draw 6 different lines. Now, when I said I don't want any images, I do not. So I'm going to know who watched this lecture. I do not want. That is 2 shapes in a line. I don't want that. I don't want imagery representing. I want the line itself to speak for itself. Happy line? Make a happy line. And you can go off. That's fine, because something amazing is going to happen. When you, oh, wait, I was doing my artwork on the wrong layer too. Dang it. So make sure your artwork is on the artwork layer and your text is on the text layer. There's a reason for that, is because, this is the rad part. I apologize for drawing on the wrong one. So text boxes, this white cover blocks out. So if you do fun stuff where you're like, and I'm so happy I went off the page, it doesn't show up. So you'll have niceness on each one. So if I do my angry and I just click and I go off the page and I clear it, and then I go from my fill to no fill, stroke to the black stroke, then I just have my jagged line going right through. Isn't that cool? So that's what I want you to do. Take 6 words from that list right here and show me those with a single or multiple lines, but they cannot create any sort of image. I don't want the faces. I get that every time. I get somebody who sends in 6 faces. I'm like, nope, you weren't paying attention. Just the line. That's it. So with that said, is there any questions, comments, or concerns as of now? All right. Well, I'm going to close out the digital people. For the people who are in class, feel free, stick around. I have another meeting today, which is oddball at 4:30, but usually I'll stick around until 4:30, so you have time to work on stuff here in the classroom. And then again, I'm here, you come before class and work on stuff as well. So, all right, for the people online, goodbye. See you on Tuesday. Again, I will check the questions, comments, concerns, and I'll check everything throughout the week. And I'm glad you're with me. Take care. Goodbye.